you are. I hope you are okay. Remember the hearing about biolabs in the Ukraine when Nuland was asked a few questions about it. And remember how they came to her aid in this hearing, because they knew she would have to admit to this fact of biolabs in the Ukraine, that they gave her, you know, an easy ball by saying, are you not worried that the Russians might get their hands on our biolabs? To divert the attention to the, you know, the risk of Russians finding out secrets about Americans' medical achievements. That was so obvious, and now again the Russians went to the OPCW, this organization about chemical biological weapons, and still make the claim and insist that the Ukraine uses chemical weapons produced with recipes, patents, etc. of the USA, with the aid and assistance of the USA. Well, this treaty on the ban of chemical biological weapons is of course but a farce when you think about it. There are some who might uphold it, those who signed it, including the Ukraine, including the Netherlands, but they don't uphold it. I responded this morning to a video of Emil Crossman. I like to watch that guy, but sometimes, like with all the others who have a big follower group, sometimes I notice they are too apologetic. Yes, too apologetic. Like, well, I don't want to make any statements, I don't want to, blah blah, I cannot confirm, blah blah. Yes, we cannot confirm directly. Correct? Correct. We cannot confirm directly if these accusations are true. However, I made a few series of videos about the fact that this Ukrainian war blogger in active duty, Mojar was his call sign. That guy and his unit, they were posting in their videos how they used drones and grenades, and those grenades were equipped with some chemical substance. They didn't mention which and what, but they talked about nasty surprise, and at the same time, indeed, because they videoed it and posted it, indeed, they show how they attacked with these grenades Russians on some canal, and the guy shows all the symptoms in the world of being disorientated, in short of breath, in panic mode, in spasm, and then drowning, probably in his own fluids in his lungs that came about with these chemicals. You will have the same symptoms as drowning. And they showed this video. I downloaded the videos because you know how the internet got scrubbed, right, of certain evidence, especially on YouTube. So I downloaded back then those videos and reposted on Twitter. I got bans for it on Twitter, for speaking out, showing the videos that the Ukrainians themselves show to the world and uploaded of this Magyar, very proud of making victims with these chemical, biological weapons, whatever they are. And at the same time, for these grenades, because they are home manufactured, just like the video today of Emil Kosman, where he was reporting about this, and he asked himself, well, do they mean with homegrown, home manufactured, do they mean in the Ukraine, or produced by the Ukraine, or elsewhere, like in your basement? Well, the last part is true. Like in your basement. Yes, like in your basement. Because the Ukraine, with this network, one of them, a network on Twitter, a Polish Ukrainian network, they get people actively involved in creating the parts for these grenades, the fins among others, with 3D printers at home. So yes, home manufactured, and God knows how many manufacturers are out there. I'm not claiming that those people at home who support the Ukraine with 3D printers themselves produce the chemicals as well, or the explosives, and montage, assembly, everything. No, that's not what I'm claiming. They're making the spare parts, the fins. They're making like the tubes, and on which you can screw the fins and that kind of stuff. A grenade doesn't have to be made of metal per se. Anyways, doesn't matter. I contacted our Dutch intelligence service about this. I contacted the State Department, the police, with the question. Obviously, those videos are in the Dutch language, with the question if this is legal in the Netherlands, in Europe, in total. Why? Because we have, first of all, we have the Dutch law that prohibits the manufacturing of ammunition or parts of ammunition if you are not a licensed party. It's considered illegal and is punishable by law, like having illegal weapons. So you can go actually in Holland to prison for a few years. 5 years, I believe, is the minimum term that they, or the maximum term that they can demand for it. So you can go to prison for manufacturing and having in possession parts of ammunition. Those fins of those grenades, technically, they are what? Yes, parts of grenades, parts of ammunition. And they all agreed with me. So the State Department, the police, the AIVD, our Dutch Secret Intelligence Service, they all agreed with me on camera, on video, raw and unedited. And I informed them that I was filming it, the phone conversation, etc. They all agreed. It is illegal, and at the very least, at the very least. It was immoral, at the very least, they said. And they agreed with me with the statement, the following statement, that if it can be established, let's say I use my 3D printer and I make these spare parts for the Ukraine, and one of these grenades gets used into Belgorod or Donetsk, where they use these grenades all the time on the civilian population. So, if it can be established by the other party that that grenade was manufactured, or parts of that grenade was manufactured by me on my 3D printer and resulted in deadly or lethal casualties, non-lethal casualties, doesn't matter, in a terrorist attack on civilians, if that can be established, yes, according to Dutch law, even international law that they signed and agreed upon in counter-terrorism and in the EU, you are punishable. Punishable. Did they tell you that too when this Bees network from the Polish-Ukrainian resistance against Russia aggression, do they inform you as well that you will be punishable by law if you make those parts? No, they don't they? So yes, I know, I am a fucking nobody. I have, what, on YouTube about 150, I believe, on my first channel, Silverflutter. I have about 150 followers and rarely get comments, and I'm sure no one shares and likes the videos. I don't ask people to share and like the video. Maybe I should. I have no clue. I have a hard time getting into the habit of this making videos and my thoughts about it. I'm not really a video editor to make flashy thumbnails, and I am not eloquently spoken. I'm kind of raw and unedited. Hey, I used to be a sailor when I grew up in my teens. I started my career being a sailor, going around the globe, and trust me, that society, that community doesn't hold back punches. We tell each other straight in our face the truth. Why? Because you cannot have grudges on board of a ship. That's why. So, yes, it's kind of a raw and unedited world where I started my professional careers. Then I went into construction. I started even my own construction company. And likewise in construction, we, the guys, we don't hold back our punches. Only the weasels do. And usually no one likes the weasels. The snitches, the sneaky bastards. Then I went into the army professionally for 7 years. Even went to the military school to become a instructor infantry for the Air Mobile Brigades. Then after that I went to serve in the Justice Department in Holland for working as a pedagogic coach with criminal youth. I like that very much, and then I decided to move out of Holland and start to live in Transylvania. 5 years ago. My point being, I am not a journalist, a reporter. I'm a guy, just like anyone else out there. Nothing special, but during my life, like being a sailor, being a soldier, working for the Justice Department, you get some experience in life. You start to pay also, if you are not a blind follower, you start to pay also attention to, you know, your organization. I guess because I was a sailor, I didn't believe all the BS we were told in the army. I didn't buy into all the BS. Why? I already experienced at a very young age the level of propaganda. You know, it kind of helps in the age before we had internet to see with your own eyes, being able to go around the globe as a sailor for network, and then see with your own eyes, you know, the things that are really going on, for example, in Africa, instead of reading about it in a newspaper and seeing it on the TV news back then, the 8 o'clock news, the most important news in all of it. We would, you know, put on the television for this, to be informed about the world. And this was in a time when the Netherlands still dared to object, for example, about certain stuff going on in the world. The Netherlands were known to be a liberal and quite neutral country. Yes, part of NATO, but with quite a neutral stance in the 80s, 90s. And I was proud of that fact. Nowadays, I'm not so proud of it anymore. Why? We've lost that neutrality kind of feeling. We are participating in this. The Dutch government is not even taking action against these kind of networks, as I mentioned in this video. So yes, I'm very disappointed in my Dutch government. Yes, I have a hard time to believe anymore in our systems in the West. Heck, not even having a hard time. The plain cold truth is that I don't believe in our system at all anymore. At all. Hence, I keep saying we need to start a revolution, peaceful, but nonetheless a revolution to make from Europe a republic. It's the only thing that will save us, changing the constitution instead of the Treaty of Lisbon that holds us all hostage, that allows all this bullshit going on with the Ukraine, with the farmers, with the COVID, etc., etc., that even goes so far that they will have the possibilities for the death penalty in case of war, in case of wartime situation, threat of war. And they are the ones determining the threat of war, right? In case of a revolt or a revolution, if you want to change the constitution of Europe, you will face armed police, not necessarily your police, because in that same Treaty of Lisbon they took clauses, secret clauses, for countries, Italy, Greece, France. They are reported to be for sure having these secret clauses to come to each other's assistance in case of a uprising, revolt, revolution, spring, a European spring. In that case, they will even go to deadly force. You don't believe me? Look up a interview with Professor Schachtschneider 2009 with MMDA News. I keep warning people about it. And because I have, like any nobody out there on YouTube, I have not that kind of, influence in a huge follower group to be able and present this danger to the Europeans, because it is a danger. Think about it. We had the COVID period with the lockdowns. In this treaty, in this part about far-reaching government actions, they can lock you up indefinite. And if you would violate then the curfew, they can consider you a belligerent party to the conflict, or a spy, or a non-patriotic, or whatever, and go after you. If you would, like I do, promote that we should have a revolution, a uprising, a European Maidan, then yes, according to German law, for example, I'm punishable. Dutch law, I'm punishable for saying these things. EU law, I'm punishable for saying these things. Nonetheless, I don't care. If you want to come after me, go ahead. Try and come after me. Romanian army at work, driving into Cluj-Napoca and to my right hand side. When you come from Florești into Cluj are barracks, and this is the first time I see 5-6 guys now with some backpacks and a weapon outside of a building. First time in all these 5 years when I pass by. Preparing for the big invasion via Danube Delta, Bessarabia into the Ukraine to protect Odessa. Like the French are talking about. 5 options they are discussing. I'm missing a 6th option. France, you French people, I'm missing a 6th option for France in discussing this troop deployment. The 6th option would be none at all. None at all. No escalation. That would be the 6th option. But there's no talk about that in the media. There is only a warming up in the media in France of the French people to the idea, yeah man, let's go, let's fight shoulder to shoulder with the Ukrainians. Or yeah man, let's go and enter Odessa. Well, there is an interesting how you call it, I cannot call it a celebration, a date coming up for commemorations about Odessa and the fires and the people that got killed in 2014. That date is coming up very soon again. And my estimate, my guess is again, they love symbolism. All parties, I suppose, even the Russians. I think this time around that commemoration days of the Odessa massacre, this time there will be some surprises from either side in Odessa. There is a very dangerous development around Moldova, Transnistria, and it's of course in the background ongoing for the last few years, the last 2 years, with when the SMO started, but before that even, after the Maidan, there has been, you know, these trickle, small news coming from Moldova, news that I sometimes follow because a family of mine, my sister-in-law, is from Moldova. She and her kids, her parents and family are from Moldova. So yes, I follow a bit the news around Moldova. And besides that, I live as a Dutch here in Pennsylvania, running my little dog shelter, worrying every single day about these developments, because if you go into a war or war economy or whatever the fuck, then most likely supply lines for dog food economic collapse, most likely the dog food will be gone as well. So yes, I worry about that every single day. Worrying about the consequences, the fallout that it will have on the dogs and me, about all this crazy developments. Worrying about my nephews who will be of the military age. Worrying about the children of friends who are of the military age if some conflict would erupt. Yes, I worry about that. I know many people don't give a shit because they don't pay attention to it. So they kind of ignore all the signs, sometimes feeling perhaps a little bit unease, and blaming it on the Russians. It's the Russians who make me feel uneasy, because the Russians threaten Europe. Well, guess what? They are not. They are not the ones who are a threat to us. They are not the ones who blew up Nord Stream 2. The USA did. Shamefully. No one, it's really so blatant that our governments are not working for us European people, that the EU is not working for us, is so blatantly obvious after the Nord Stream 2. After 2 years we still don't know who did it. Who could have done it? Who could have done it? And just like Alex said, within an hour after the Moscow attacks, the USA can announce that it was ISIS. But they don't know, after 2 years investigation, they don't know who blew up Nord Stream 2. Go figure. So yes, it's blatantly obvious. It should be blatantly obvious to every European that our leaders in our governments are what? Yes, traitors. Traitors to the European people. They are. And I keep with my statement, and I will keep saying it. They need to be brought in front of a special court. There should be also only one punishment for that kind of high treason and for crimes against humanity. And in 1947 we shown the world what we think about crimes against humanity. That, in my opinion, is straight up fair. Straight up fair. Those people do not deserve immunity. Why should Bush, Blair, Schwarzkopf, all those of the Iraq wars get immunity? Why should all those leaders who supported it get immunity? Why should all those generals get immunity? Why do they get immunity for the unprovoked aggression of NATO against Yugoslavia? Why do they get immunity for this? You want to hold Putin responsible for the ICC. The USA, for fuck's sake, the USA, who does not recognize the ICC, who even has a clause, a wartime clause, to go to war with the Netherlands if ever any American or any associate of the Americans has to face the ICC for crimes, for war crimes. Then they will invade with military force Den Haag, Netherlands, to take that prisoner out of custody of the ICC. This is not a conspiracy, this is true, it's factual. They actually made it a law in the USA that if ever an American is in front of the ICC, they will come and liberate that person. So, that very same USA demands that Putin has to answer for its crimes in front of the ICC. Europe who demands this. Yet the same EU who did not have the fucking balls to tell Bush, the Dutch Prime Minister Balkenende back then, what a slimy fucking... Don't get me started about them. Really. The spineless leaders in the EU who did not even object, who did not kick out as a response, the only logic response of the Netherlands, who did not kick out the Americans from American bases after a statement like that, and you still gonna hold what? Tens of thousands of Americans in the Netherlands, in Germany, in Romania, after Bush made a statement like that, that he would, you're either with us or against us. Black and white. And you better remember, old Europe, Bush, his words, paraphrasing of course, but Bush, his words, threatening Europe, the EU, that if we would not follow the USA, well, guess what? And Europe, EU, cowardly, instead of having balls and saying, hey, I thought we were friends, I thought we are together in NATO, but hey, if this is what you want, if this is really what you want, then okay, so be it. What can I say? Free will, free choice, your free will, free choice, America, to do this. But hey, our free will, our free choice, our sovereignty will also not be infringed. And the only way you are a sovereign is if you don't bow down by threats. If you don't bow down to threats, if you hold your backs straight. Yes, then things would have been very different if we had done that back then. 2002, I believe, they made this law. It would have been very different now in Europe. We would not have all this far-reaching governmental overreach of the EU, Brussels, because we would not have been following that Patriot Act 1 and Patriot Act 2. So yeah, you Americans bear a big responsibility for the bullshit, and I'm talking about you, not the government. No, I'm talking about you, American, nobody like me. You are responsible for all this bullshit that we have now in Europe. And you want us, Europeans, to be applauding for the fucking USA. USA, USA, USA. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. You harmed my country. You harmed my family. You harmed me with your fucking Nord Stream terror attack. You Americans are terrorists. You are responsible with your government for the creation of Al-Qaeda. Known fact, internationally known. You are responsible for the creations of ISIS and the likes. You are responsible for slave trade now in Libya. You, USA, you American out there, you are the most despicable country and people out there in all of the globe. There is no comparison. You are talking about corruption in the Ukraine. Yeah, very true. One of the most corrupt hellholes in the world. Yet, don't forget your level of corruption in the USA is beyond belief. Is beyond belief. When this war on terror started, I didn't make videos, but I already replied to many vloggers, bloggers back then from the USA. Please, for fuck's sake, pay attention, you Americans. You are about to lose your country. And when you lose your country, your freedoms, then guess what? The rest of the world is in a great fucking peril, because there won't be anyone to hold that monstrous military industrial complex of yours in check. And the only ones who can do it are you, the fucking nobody American, huh? Fucking nobody like me, making stupid videos from his car, right? That most people out there don't even have the attention span to follow for like 30 seconds. Yeah? There's nothing to get from this. Where is the excitement? Where is show me dead bodies? Then, oh, for fuck sure, when I posted dead body videos on Twitter, and that was a big spike in views. War porn. Suffering of other people, getting a hard-on about suffering of other people. Come on. Come on. How can we have sunk that low? Really? We have no moral high ground in the West. We have no moral high ground with NATO, and we have no moral high ground with the EU. And it drags every one of us down to the level of what? Yes, like I keep saying, Nazis and fascist countries. Why? Very simple. If you give weapons, training and money to Nazis, to fascists, then you cannot claim you are not a Nazi or a fascist. Only Nazis and fascists will give that kind of support to, yes, Nazis and fascists. And since it is my money, your money out there that they use, because don't forget, Brussels doesn't produce anything but bullshit. Since it is our money and our so-called elect who lead us and make these decisions, then yes, it is your fault, your responsibility, my fault, my responsibility. But hey, I'm the one telling you that you are on the wrong side of history. I'm the one warning about this, and I'm pretty much the only one telling you this. I'm also the only one who calls out for this European Republic and revolution. Easter is coming again. I made back then one of my first videos. I know I'm shitty at it, and I'm not representable, and I'm not this, that, and I got a lot of flack from Dutch about that video as well. But I made a video 2 years ago, and last year also, reminding people that Easter is about what? Yes, the resurrection of Jesus. And with that, supposedly, the washing away of our sins. He died at that cross for your sins, for my sins. Period. And we are honoring Jesus with wars and rumors of wars. But just like it's written, do not worry, Jesus said, do not be afraid, for all these things will have to come past. So I'm not afraid, but I am ashamed. I am ashamed about NATO, about our involvement in this conflict. Heck, I'm ashamed about everything after 9/11. It's a lot. Gaza. How can you not be ashamed? How can you not be ashamed? Ukraine, Donbass, Luhansk, how can you not be ashamed to see how we bomb civilians and children, women, indiscriminately? How can you then not be ashamed? I guess if you cannot be ashamed about all these things that your governments are doing with your money and your consent, then you lost your moral compass. You did. Go check it again. Go check where you did go wrong. Huh? Where did we go wrong? Anyways, just some thoughts, some rant about all this bullshit going on while I'm driving through the traffic of people who are oblivious to perhaps the last few months, last few months of peace in the EU. Have a nice day. If you did, thanks for listening. Maybe you learned something about it, or maybe you think I can teach others something. Fucking moron. Jesus. You can have such a stupid people in traffic that hi. Fuck you with your blink like, oh sorry. Look in your fucking mirror. That's 2 times in 12 seconds. Do I hate stupid people? Oh fuck yes, I hate stupid people. They endanger the rest of us who use our fucking brain. Have a nice day, YouTube.